At this point, many of the cloud-based software stocks have roared to nosebleed levels that, frankly, feel increasingly hard to justify. I'm struggling. But what about a cloud play that hasn't run as much? Consider VMware, the leading maker of virtualization software, the very thing that makes the cloud possible, but then you run multiple virtual machines on a single physical server. And they've also got a big cloud onboarding business. Think AWS. VMware's the rare cloud play that's arguably a value stock, trading at just 20 times next year's earnings estimates. That's right. I think it's a steal, considering that the company shot the lights out when it reported at the end of May. The stock surged from 142 to 156 the next day. Since then, it's pulled back all the way to 143. That means you're getting that quarter almost for free. It's a gift. But don't take it from me. Let's check in with Sanjay Poonen. He's VMware's Chief Operating Officer for Customer Operations. Find out how the company delivered these blowout, knockout numbers and get a clearer picture of where it's headed. Mr. Poonen, welcome back to Mad Money.
Jim, what a pleasure to be with you. I want you to know I was going stir crazy sitting at home with Zoom, but I came into your satellite studio here with this mask that says we love Mad Money. Always great to talk to you.
Well, you're a gent, and you know we love you because we did a piece called The Rule of 40, where we put everything through a prism. It's a prism that allows us to figure out what we can get for great growth that's profitable, and you're at the top. How are you able to accomplish that?
Well, we had a good quarter, and I want to thank all of our customers, our partners, and the valiant VMware employees for what they did. Yes, Rule of 40, when you talked about it, growth, we had 12% growth, and operating margins around 29%. You put those together, Rule of 40. We're grateful, and I think in that list, we were not just one of the top, but also one of the most profitable. What we've sought to do is really pivot the company, not just from the license to subscription and SaaS revenue, and that's gone from single digits a few years ago to 21% of our revenue. And that's an indication of us becoming an indispensable path off the path to the cloud. And you talked about this in the context of our AWS partnership. The other part that was very important for us in Q1 was as people worked from home, we were in that sort of response part of the economy. We're now moving to reopen and possibly down the road to reinvent. Our work from home solutions, driven by Workspace ONE, Carbon Black, and VeloCloud, did very well in the quarter.
Now, there was a terrific speech. Patrick Gelston, your CEO, gave a great talk at the Merrill Lynch Global Technology Conference. And he talked about the two acquisitions. He said Carbon Black, it was hand in glove. It was absolutely perfect. But he did talk about how you did a deal called Pivotal, and that required taking on a good amount of risk, but it's worked. Tell us about that one.
Yeah, that's actually been very helpful to us. As you think about app developers, they're all doing things with these container, and we talked about containers in a previous show. Think of them as like these containers on ships. You're able to build apps much faster in a container platform. VMware has been the ship, that's the virtual machine. We're now also the best enterprise container platform. So people are looking to develop apps much faster. Banks, we even help the NHS in building their contact tracing app. So a number of these apps need to be done much faster. Enter Pivotal. We've now branded that whole portfolio Tanzu, which is the Japanese word for containers. And every one of our customers now is asking us about containers and app development. We've made that our number one priority, Jim, because everyone now is looking to build cloud-native modern apps, and the best solution in town is VMware Tanzu.
Now, has it helped you to sell VMware Tanzu because of your close relationship with another company that had a fantastic quarter, Dell?
Absolutely. Dell is one of our top partners, certainly in the private cloud as customers build their hyper-converged infrastructure and VMware Cloud Foundation. On top of all of that, you need VMware Tanzu. And we're seeing many customers sort of consolidate on that Dell hyper-converged infrastructure. It's called VxRail, with VMware Cloud Foundation for a software-defined data center, and then put Tanzu on top of that. This is now hundreds of customers, and we're seeing good momentum there. But you can also apply that to what we call as a mission control in a multi-cloud, because you might be running in one place on Dell hardware, in the other place on Amazon or Azure and Google, and VMware brings this sort of mission control cockpit, if you would, for all of your Tanzu Kubernetes containers in a multi-cloud environment. Both of those are game changers, Jim.
I do feel that, and some of this is my fault, Sanjay. I have not I've talked about you enough about as a cybersecurity company. I spent a ton of time talking about Zscaler, Palo Alto Networks I talk a lot about, but VMware should be in the conversation.
Well, Jim, we were very fortunate. One of the leading analysts called us one of the best-kept secrets in IT. You can Google and find that article. We announced at the end of our Q3 earnings call last year, we have $1 billion security business. So out of our $10.8 billion last year, $1 billion in security and growing. So we are one of those best-kept secrets. In very simple terms, The companies you named are very good companies, but think of us as sort of Palo Alto and CrowdStrike in one company. The network security people like Palo Alto do well, CrowdStrike and the endpoint security, but the network guys don't understand the endpoint right. Folks don't understand the network. We come in, we're the best in both areas. Cloud security companies like Zscaler partners with us. The network, the endpoint, the cloud are the three areas of innovation and security. VMware is going to be investing very heavily in this area. We've done 3 acquisitions in the last 7 months in security. Carbon Black, Octarine for container security, and we announced our intent to acquire Last Line in network detection and response. So we are here, and we're going to go work with customers. I set myself a goal this year, Jim, to talk to 1,000 CISOs. I can tell you proudly, it's gotten a little easier with Zoom. I'm doing 25, 30-minute calls with a lot of them, and I hope to talk to a lot of them, and they will all tell you that VMware is on the move in the security space.
Well, I have to end on a tougher note. There are 2 things that are going on that are wrong in this country right now. One is COVID, and I know that you've got your arms around that. And the other is, frankly, social injustice. And I wish you'd speak to both of them, what your company's doing about COVID and what you're doing about social injustice.
Well, the first one, when you think about the response, reopen, reinvent. We think those are the 3 phases. We're getting past the fact that I could come in here and talk to you over studio in the reopen stage gradually. And we're going to help customers not just with work from home, but work anywhere. And we really continue to wish our employees and our customers and partners great health. Until the vaccine comes, I think it's going to be a different era with maybe only 25% of our workforce in the U.S. wanting to come home. In the Asian countries, it's a little higher. The other one's a much more serious pandemic. Both are important, but this one's really sad. I'm a person of color, and it was so heartbreaking to see the George Floyd incident and Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor. This country has got to change, and we've got to do our part in the tech community to renounce racism, discrimination, prejudice of all kinds. We were vocal about that. We want to see change. There has to be change starting in tech. We need to hire more underrepresented minorities. We need to put them in leadership positions, offer more scholarships and internships. I like Brian Stevenson's phrase. He is the star in this new movie, Just Mercy, which I encourage people to watch. He basically says, you've got to act justly. Okay, you got to love mercy, and you got to walk humbly. It's a famous verse, and that's how we like to live. And the walk humbly part needs to start with the tech community doing a lot more to show by substance that we care about renouncing racism and discrimination of all kinds and standing up, if there's one word, for justice.
All right, Sanjay, I know you will stand up for justice, and you are a stand-up person. I do miss you. I thank you for that mask. And I thank you for everything you do for many people, including make people listen to beautiful music and have fun and smile. Thank you so much, Sanjay Poonen, COO of VMware. Good to see you, sir.
Always good to see you.
It's the least expensive stock in the group. We proved that last week with the numbers. Now you've heard the story. I want you to stick with Cramer.